Hi everybody, happy Valentine's Day. I hope you're having a wonderful day and evening. And I figured the day that we celebrate love would be a perfect time to talk with you about the power of our words. So whether that's spoken or written, our words have so much power, and it's important that we be aware of it so we can use that power wisely. So you might have heard two phrases that may seem familiar. One is that in the tongue lies the power of life and death. You may have also heard the pen is mightier than the sword. And I assure you, it is the truth. And I'll tell you a little bit why. So you know me, it all goes back to the brain. And there's two really interesting ways that your brain works that really brings this to life. So when you speak words, your brain is listening, and it is going to start immediately looking for evidence to back up what you said. So this is called cognitive dissonance. So if I casually let loose, man, I am so sick and tired, my brain will start looking for evidence that that is true and advertising it to me. So whether it's not getting enough sleep or not feeling well, my brain will keep making sure that I'm seeing that loud and clear to say, you're right. You are sick and tired. So knowing that, you want to choose those words so carefully. The other part of your brain that also is at work here often is called the reticular activating system. And you will know this one if you've ever set out to buy a new car and you decide on a make and model that you're interested in, and you're driving on the road and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere you go and you say, I've never noticed that before. It's because you wound up your brain to go ahead and look for it and show it to you. So those two dynamics in your brain is what makes your words so very powerful. So now I'm going to take you real quick to the dark side of tonight's talk, and that is the cringeworthy statements that sometimes come out of our mouth. And it could be things that we say over ourselves or over those around us. And I'll share just a few to give you an idea of what I mean. You might say to yourself, man, I can never do anything right. Imagine what your brain starts looking for. Or this job is killing me. Or I can never catch a break. You might say over others around you, my husband drives me crazy. My husband doesn't do anything to support me. Or your children, as an example. You are always driving your brother crazy. My son, he's just no good at sports. These are labels that not only trigger your brain to look for evidence of what you've spoken, but when said over other people, particularly your children, they're hearing it as labels and they will start seeking evidence to prove you right. So, to follow, you made it through the cringeworthy section of some of those things that we rattle off and we just wish we could take back now. But 3 useful tips to make sure that you're using your words for good. So number 1, before you say something, make sure you pause and use a litmus test of, is this going to give grace to those who hear it? Is this going to help encourage or support someone? Is there a reason to share it? And if there isn't, keep that to yourself, whether it's speaking it aloud or firing it off in an email. The second one is to really make sure that if you're out with a group of folks and you start to hear the negativity come out, or even worse, gossip to come out, develop a refrain that you can use every time that comes up. And that goes something like this. Let's say you hear a work colleague start to talk bad about another work colleague. You could say, you know what? That sounds like a discussion that you need to have with that person. I am certain they are doing the best they can with what they have. I promise you, if you have a refrain like that you can hold with integrity and be ready to share, if you do that every time you hear gossip, those gossipers, they are going to stop bringing it up around you because they'll be sick of hearing your refrain. And frankly, you'll be training them on what behavior you will tolerate around you. So make sure to use that too. And number 3, and I confess, I let one fly just last week. when you go to write an email or even write an online comment, that power of the written word, if you're feeling some kind of way, hold off for at least 24 hours where you can rationally gauge whether sharing those words will actually help the situation. And use me as an example. It's days later, apology offered, follow-up email sent, and I'm still regretting having fired off those words in the heat of the moment. So there you have it, folks, your PSA about how your words, spoken and written, are so powerful. And those 3 tips that you don't want to forget to make sure you're using them wisely. When speaking, pause before you share. Make sure that if you're firing off that email or that comment, that you're pausing for 24 hours if you're feeling some kind of way, and that you've got that refrain in your pocket the next time you hear negativity or gossip, that you're not going to stand in agreement with that person, that you're going to halt it and hold the conversation around you to a higher level. Wishing all of you much love always. Until next time.